So this is Baruch here at the Tikkun elevator Kollel, and what we're looking at here right now is the Tikunei Zohar with the Pirush of the Kesser HaKova V'HaKova. This is Yeshiva Nari of the Abuchatzera family. I don't know much about it because all I know is that the books are given to me and I start learning them. It's always like I'm way out ahead and somebody's got to let me fill in the blanks in the back. So over here we're going to take a look at the words. We've seen them already a couple of times. Let's see it again. These are the words of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai in the Hakdama to the Tikunei Zohar. It's a B'Zohar Rakia De'ihu Kolil Kol Gavon. So he says the radiance of the Rakia, which we have learned means the Yesod of Zeranpin, which has all the colors in it, because the Shefa all flows into the Yesod that I've said so many times, that the Yesod represents a pool, where all the 5 kitzvahs of Zeranpin that preceded Chesed, Avor, Tiferet, Netzach, and Hod flow in their Shefa into the Yesod of Zeranpin. So he says this is Zohar Tomei V'Gonis, but what is in it is hidden and secreted away. Zohar Bocher B'Shchokim, so this is a Zohar which has a sufficient light to be able to shine into the Shchokim is another word for heavens, or different kinds of heaven, and this really refers to the Netzach and Hod of Zeranpin. So from that Yesod, he's saying that there's a lot of light that flows so much into other spheros next to it, the Nai of Zeranpin. Then he says, Zohar Zarek Nitzutzim Umavkik Kubarak La'ainin. So this is a Zohar, a radiance, Zarek Nitzutzim, that sends out sparks, Umavhik, and illuminates, or sends a bright, shining light, Kubarak, like a lightning bolt, La'ainin, into the eyes. Zohar Zahir Kivor Basikasehara. This is a Zohar that shines white, like the moon. Zohar Zahir Sumaka Kama'adim. So it also sends out light, not just white, but also that are red, like the planet Mars. Zohar Mavchi Kolil Yeruka Kahama. So this also, in the Zohar, is another color. It's a shining green color, the green color like the sun, the Chama. Zohar Yarek Kochav. It's a Zohar which is green like the stars. Zohar Kolil Kivor V'Sumak. So it has within it white and red. Zohar Zahir L'Kol Aver. This light, this brilliance, shines into all limbs. Command the Macha B'Patish. So it's like a person that strikes the anvil with the hammer and produces sparks. Zarek Shivivin the Kol Sitra, and it sends out these sparks everywhere. So he says, Chachim Mahai Zohar Zaharim Kama Nishmasim. So this Zohar actually produces the illumination of Neshamos. Now what that means we have to see. So he says, the Nahim Bay that shine within it, Nishmasim, souls, Neshamos, Umaskilin, the Maskilim Kokochavaya. So those people who learn so, that's my interpretation, it shines in their lives like the Kochavim. Perdukia, Chachi, Naharim, Bakarsia. So this is how they shine. They shine like at the throne. Now, what it's into the throne, to the throne, not sure what all that meant. But we're going to just read that across, and we'll read it across again, but where do we get to here? We're on number Yud Zayin. Now what we do here is that we know that this is the place where I made a mark, so I'm going to have to find back where we were. So he says a number Yud Zayin, then it's going to go to number Yud Ches, which is located where? Here. So we'll go over there. So the words are, so we'll read from Tes Zayin. Tes Zayin says, Zohar Zahir Sumaka Kam'adim. So last time, before I translate this, last time we talked about silver. We talked about the color of silver, which people who are know a little bit of Kabbalah, they realize that silver, the gematria of silver, is the same gematria as the combination of the name Ekya, which produces the gematria 161. Silver is 160. That's kesed. So this is the same idea. What does it represent? It represents the light of kindness. That's that. Now he comes and he says Zohar, Sumoko, but there's also a Zohar that it spreads out a light of redness. Zohar HaMeir shines begavon ed and red. He said Kokochov Ma'adim like Mars. V'hu or Spheris HaGavura Shagavona Edom, and this is the light, the Sphera of Gavura, like the Gavon of Edom, like that star, that planet. Adumios romezes the tuk of the din, because this redness is really a reference to the power of punishment. So let's see what he says, and we have a little vert here. Is al pi haber l'chai roi. This is what the ber l'chai roi says. This ki mara oidim, that color, the vision, the appearance of redness. Hu mora al din. It tells you about din, judgment, punishment. And this is the reason why this is the star of our brother Esav. It's the star which really shows you about blood. Now let's go on a little bit more, and then said after that Yud Zayin, that we're over here. It says Zohar Mavhik, shining. Zohar HaMavhik Shehi or Spheris of Tiferet. So now we want to talk about, we talked about the right line, which is the light of whiteness, which he said is like the color of the moon. We have the left line, which is the color of red, or din, which is like the color of Mars, of punishment. He says, Spheris Tiferet of Hamamatzach bebein Spheris Chesed Shagavona Loven, the Spheris Gavura Shagavona Edom. So this is the concept of the middle line, which is Machria, which is balances between white and red. It's in the middle. So therefore the light that comes from this middle line, he says, Kolil Yeruka Kahama, it has within it a green color, like the sun. Kolil Magavan Yarak his mazgos, which is the mixture of these two colors, that is the white and the red, and he says it produces Gavan and Levad Ve'edem. So Lavan Ve'edem. So it's a mixture of those two colors. Now, I don't think that if you mix white and red together in our world that it would come out to be green, but that's what he says here, is that green is the path of going forward in a measured way. Let's see what he says in number Yod Ches, so we can try to understand this better. He says, Ki hatiferes mesfiras kav and soy. They come from the middle line. Now remember, we're always dealing with these three lines in the world of the Tikkun. And it goes in the middle between the right and the left. HaChesed v'hadin, the Chesed and the Din. So Gavona mizavog me'edin v'lovan. So he says the color which is produced from the mixture of red and white. Shuhu hagavon the yarak. He says the mixture between the two of them is green. B'horas al mizug midas chesed v'radin. I keep skipping on this word mizug, which I think we want to say that it's like a lashon yichud. But he means it just means to say that it lahoras al mizug, the mixing, which I guess is lashon zivug too. Midas chesed v'radin b'mezeg hashavas. In other words, they're completely balanced in there. Al pi ber l'chai lo ri. So according to this pirush, and B'tzayin the Pardes, also the Ramak, shebevor sheklolos hagavonim u'mezigosum yisacha b'yachad mora al hachro. So he says the concept. Let's just read his word. Shebevor sheklolos hagavonim, incorporation of different colors together, mixing them, u'mezigosum. Yachad mora al hachroa. It teaches the concept of balance. Shahat teferes machria ben chesed l'din, because the teferes it balances between chesed and din. Umavchin be'eze gavan yorok meduber. So let's try to understand what kind of green are we talking about. Siva emes shacha yorok hazeh, that this particular greenness, hu yorok kumokira ukahalmon. I don't know these words, so I have to look it up. Kamokira v'ocholomon bina. Shuhu mamish kalos adam kalos incorporates these two. Now, just hold on for a second. These are stones, I believe, and I just don't know the names of the stones. Hold on 1 second as I work it. Okay, I was away. I was looking in the Jastrow. I was looking in my dictionary, and I don't see the word kumokira is ending with a Aramaic ending or a non-Hebrew ending, and the word kahalmon bina. Halmon is the yellow of a yolk of an egg. So I'm not sure what bina means in this situation. I just can't help us here. But at any rate, shuhu mamash kalos adam edom v'lovan. So he said, Repri Eitz Chaim, look over there, Besof Dibri Haverim, and so Esther Yarak Rockles Choy, so that Esther was greenish. Shaham Marach Yarak Hu Ha'aras Zer Anpen, because he wants to say that the real light that comes from Zer Anpen, the light of the middle line, is the light of greenness. So he says, Ha'arak Hu Ha'aras Za, the Hainu Tiferet, that is Tiferet. Now let's see, we have a little bit more we could do. The next one comes right away after the words Akalil Yeruka Kahama, like the sun. Come over Gavon Yarok Shuhu Hamiz his Mazgos Gavone Lovan Ve'edem, different combinations of what colors that produces, and he said, well, yellow is one of them, and exactly how Mavche Kahama, and it shines like the sun, which is yellowish. Let's see what he means in number Yud Tes here. He says, Kirateferes Nikbar Shemesh. Tiferet is also called the sun. Kamosha Kosa Be'etz Chaim, B'kach Bir Hashas Ratzon of B'sharcham Mefarshim. So now we have one more that we're going to look at. Let's look at this one, number Kaf. So then he goes from the Zohar Yarek Kochav, like a star. So what star? So the Inyan Masha Nekat Tikunei Zohar Bagimel Hikinuhim Levana Chama B'koichav. So we have all these different kinds of descriptions here. Star. Lateir Gavon Gimel Spheres is really to give you an impression and to form the picture of these three different colors, Chesed, Tiferet, and Netzach. So what? Chesed, Tiferet, and Netzach. So where Netzach come in? I thought it was Chesed, Tiferet, and Gevurah, but he said no. Netzach is also on the right line. The Chesed, Tiferet, and Netzach. So in regards to this, is a Kosav Shas Ransom, Bayer Shku Alpi HaNoider, She'ad Sof Shlish Elyon to Tiferet. In other words, to the chest, from the neck down to the chest, which is part of Cheseres. HaChasadim Stumin. There we see that the Chasadim in Zer Anpin in his das are closed up. Toch Yisod De'ima, inside of the Yisod of Inva, Ve'enim Me'irim Kol Kach, and they don't shine so much. L'chein B'gavan Spheres HaChesed, the Rishon, so therefore in the color of the first Chesed. Neket Atikun Zohar Lashon Sichra. So then we see that we're fixing there, that the Tikunei Zohar is described over there as in the language of a moon. Shuhu Enu Meir Kol Kach, which doesn't have all that much light to it. Of Tiferet Neket Kachama, but when in Tiferet we're calling it the sun, which really does have a light. Sham Kavar Mizgalim Be'ir Chasada, because it's in the middle line, he says, that the light is actually exposed, where you really see the brightness of a Netzach. So how did it go from Chesed, Tiferet, to Netzach? That's like going right, center, right. So he said, Neket Kokochov. So there we say that Tiferet is like a star, B'Sedach and Madregos. Okay, different kinds of ideas. I think we're at the end of this today, and let me see, Kokochov. Let's read just one more. The Kaf Aleph has a little bit of a richos. Behind the Orach Spheres and Netzach. So he says like this, we're talking about the light of the spheres of Netzach. Shemakoma B'Kav Yamin, Ak Mekabelas Gam HaTiferes HaMezave Gam Medin Medin. So he says this is something you need to know about Tiferet. That Tiferet actually, something you need to know about Netzach. Netzach receives the light of Tiferet, which is the middle line, and that light has a certain amount of redness in it. So that's why it says the fichoch gavan and netzach yaruch. So that's the reason why we say it's also green, kakochav, like a star. Shul ta'arovas admumius beloved. This is that what comes over here is that the whiteness that's mixed with the red is inside of Tiferet, and then it comes to netzach. Akal loven shebocha humora ala chesed ikri. But we want to say that the main part of it is the whiteness that's in it, not the redness. Now let's go over here to number Kaf Aleph and we'll pick this up. See what he says over here. Let's bring it down a little bit lower and let's see if we can get the whole thing in. It says, Sfiras HaNetzach ahi megavanech hayarag shuhu mezivug eden v'lovam. So he says, where you thought that the middle line was the one that was the mixture, but it also applies to Netzach. Al shakan ein hagavanim mizvogim b'shav v'mamish Tiferet. In Tiferet you have about 50%, let's say you have 50% right, you have 50% left, and that's Tiferet producing what he calls the green color of the sun. And over here we say that in Netzach also has this mixture, but not the same proportion. Ella halavan gover, but the lovan, the white part, is really the main part, the powerful part. Ma'at, it's not a lot. Gover ma'at ala dumius. V'zos mishum shenetzach noita yoser ala chesed, and that's because Netzach is really, he says, it's inclined more towards chesed. This is according to, now he says, al pi pardes, according to the remark. Because of his Echad. He said, "V'chatam ki hu yonek rachamim min chesed." The reason why is it because it nurses or feeds rachamim that comes from chesed. V'din v'racham is zivugim and Tiferet, and also, I'm sure we'll show muzogim. Let me say the word again. Mizivugim, yeah. Mizivugim Tiferet. So he said, let me read it again. So that Netzach actually receives light from Chesed, which is in the same line, and also from the middle line, which is the Tiferet. The Tamki hu yonek rachamim and the Chesed, but also is yonek v'rachamim v'din v'rachamim and muzogim and mezugim and Tiferet, from the mixture that's in Tiferet, it gets from that too. And we make gevuras HaChesed because of the gevuras and the Chesed. So he said umifnei I read it wrong. Make takvuros hachesed, it's small print. The hachesed alav shuhu shorish yis shorsha, which is its root. Yischayev netiyasu yoser alarachmim. So therefore, it's in the right line. So therefore, it's moved so closer toward chesed adkan. V'chein chu beber l'chai roi bebiasis beer says that's better. Yanki Iker Verov Nikoso. Yanikos is in the main place where Netzach receives its Shefa, who Mikava Yomim from the right line, Shuhutza the Chesed in the side of the Chesed, Shisham Beso, which is really its permanent place, so there's a development out of that, I guess it means its root. The Chen Kun Noita Acher Kach, so therefore it's inclined that way, L'Gavan Lovam. Lahalvin admumio shabo, in order, and what happens is with the whiteness that is coming from into Netzach from Chesed, and as a result of that, and it's getting also whiteness is coming from Tiferet, but that whiteness in Tiferet is mixed with red. So he said lagavan lavan lahalvin, in order to whiten admumius, which whitens the whiteness, the redness that's there shabo, lahachzir lulavan, in order to bring it back to whiteness. So the rachamim, which is the secret of rachamim. So this is the concept of the vision, of the appearance of the star, which is called Mars, Admumius. Hanoita the Lovan, which is though inclined in this place, he says that this is the nature of Netzach. So but the two different colors, that is the white and the red, they don't shine there the same and equally. But he says the whiteness is a little bit more. And this is a secret about Netzach that I think maybe I didn't know before. That Netzach develops out of Chesed, because Netzach is on the right line. It's Chacham, Chochmah, Chesed, and Netzach. Here he says, though, the Netzach draws also Shefa from Tiferet, not just from Chesed. And as a result of that, it has a certain amount of redness in it. The whiteness that's in it overcomes the redness, but he's saying just a little bit. It has, in other words, more dominant. It's dominant, but just a little bit more dominant. That's a little secret about Netzach, and this is Baruch Fleischman, Tikkun Elevator Call.